In this world, there are first and third category healers, and one extremely powerful, unlicensed healer who operates underground is always surrounded by women. He's always ready to heal and do whatever needs to be done, as long as he's paid the price he deems fair. A young elf girl wakes up and says, "Good morning" to Xenos. Then, she heads straight to the kitchen to prepare for breakfast. A few minutes later, Xenos finally gets up, returns the good morning to the elf, and sits down to drink his black tea. According to Lily, in this world, a healer is third class if they only heal wounds, second class if they heal and comfort, and first class if they make the world a better place. By the way, the story of the Kingdom of Herzith is very much about healers, as they have greatly helped develop this nation, earning them a very important position in this society. The hospital is where healers gather to learn sophisticated healing magic and obtain their license before starting their journey as healers. However, in a corner of the kingdom, there is someone who has not received formal education and does not have a license to practice healing. Speaking of this person, after healing another patient, Xenos receives thanks and payment for his service. Seeing the low-value coins on the table, the young healer responds that he's always willing to heal, if the patient is willing to pay the price. With the departure of the attended young man, Lily remembers that today she has a house visit, and the doctor informs her that he should only return at night. With that, the elf commits to preparing dinner while the human is away. Alone now, Lily lights the fire and chops the carrot to prepare the meal in a pot, until Carmilla smells the food and comes over to see what's cooking for later. As if there's one thing that gets her excited, it's Lily's dinner. The elf asks her to leave it to her. After all, she's training to someday be Xenos' wife. Trusting her friend, Carmilla says she'll rest in the room for a while and flies off to take a nap. Then, a woman named Zofia enters the house looking for the doctor. Lily informs her that he went to make a house call, so the lady with shark-like serrated teeth decides to wait there for the young man. Honestly, she hoped to have that handsome guy all to herself if she arrived early, but luck isn't always on our side. In the following scene, it's time for Linga to enter in search of the most sought-after doctor by the female figures of Herzith. Lily gives the same warning to the Catwoman, who regrets not being able to lick Mr. Xenos entirely while receiving a stroke on the tail, or rather, as you prefer to call it. Zofia informs her that she arrived first and suggests that the beast return home. Then the two start a duel of sinister stares, until Lily joins the competition. Similarly, another woman arrives who manages to be even noisier than the others. Busting through the door, Loa came to play doctor with the doctor. Lily once again informs her that the man is out on a house visit and asks the big woman to fix the door before anything else. When the whole gang gathers, Loa deduces that they came for Lily's food, but Zofia replies that only the big woman would do that. Speaking of the little one, the petite elf collects her secret ingredient and throws it in the pot. Having done that, she invites the girls to eat there when Xenos returns, and Lo makes it clear that that was the idea. Zofia accepts since she's already there, and Linga confirms that she's going to devour the food without hesitation. Thus, Lily looks forward to the group meal and then retires to store the laundry she washed. Zofia confesses that the smell of the food is killing her, and Linga can't hold out until dinner, so she and Lo go to the pot to grab the food beforehand. Upon tasting, the big woman and the cat recognize the deliciousness of that meal, so they overstep their bounds by attacking the pot outright and shamelessly. Zofia warns that Lily won't like this at all, but upon smelling it better, she decides to try it too to see if it's to the doctor's liking. Outside, Lily was calmly doing her chores in the company of nature's animals, and this harmony brought her the peace she needed to lie down on the grass and breathe for a while. Anyway, she wonders if Xenos will come back earlier. Back in the kitchen, the Herzith sweetheart trio had the nerve to clean out the entire pot that was meant for dinner. Boldly, Linga blames the other two, so Lo takes the opportunity to do the same. Zofia questions whether the two are suffering from amnesia, and the Catwoman agrees it's a good idea to pretend they don't remember anything. The big woman suggests that they prepare more food, and the shark-toothed one thinks it's a good idea, but it was already late. Trying to maintain the peace she brought from the yard, Lily arrives and politely asks what the hell happened. Soon, the three culprits are seated at the table to tell the story, but all of them act clueless, pretending they had just arrived. With slightly less patience, Lily slams her hand on the table and repeats her question. Then Zofia spills that the smell was irresistible and she decided to taste a bit of the food. Linga argues that her arms moved on their own, while Lo admits that the stuff was too good. Seeing that the elf is getting angry, the three quickly convene and conclude that the little one is really ticked off. Linga thinks the digestion won't be good, and Lo suggests she consult with Xenos, although Zofia thinks it's a bad idea to bother the doctor with such nonsense. However, unfortunately, the fur on the Catwoman's tail is rougher than usual, but she hopes the doctor will pet it as usual. Zofia thinks it's more likely the guy would inject mayonnaise into his veins, and Linga responds that feeling jealous isn't godly. Meanwhile, Loa believes the shark tooth should be jealous of the buff body she has, even though Linga believes Xenos would prefer 1,000 times a furry tail like hers. Zofia comments that the two are losing focus of the conversation, so Linga bluntly calls the poor woman a big lizard. The lizard calls the beast a little dog, and Lo is sad to be left out of the string of gratuitous insults. Returning to the conversation, Lily makes it clear that Zeninho will be upset if the three of them fight, and that all she wanted was to have a meal with her friends. Facing such a heartfelt outpouring, Zofia lowers her head and apologizes. Linga does the same and commits to helping with another dinner, as does Lo. Either way, the elf regrets that there are no more ingredients to make another meal. Hearing this, another figure steps in to question what was just said, as it certainly does not sound good. Linga is startled and kneels before Carmilla, the ghostly creature who was eager to eat Lily's cooking and has just found out it won't be happening. Because of this, perhaps it would be good to make another stew, but this time with a soul broth to make it tastier. Having said that, the other two culprits also kneel before Carmilla, but Lily has a less hostile idea. Perhaps it would be good to bring more ingredients. Obviously, the three foodies prefer this idea and rush to get what was requested. Next, Carmilla asks if Lily shouldn't have been angrier with them, but the blonde confesses she is serene. In turn, if they had drunk Carmilla's beverages, she would have cursed all the girls. The elf responds that she acts more calmly because she is mature and likes it when everyone is together. For her, the real problem is not knowing if she will manage to prepare the food by the time Xenos returns. Speaking of the doctor, he walks through the city streets in the late afternoon, until a girl passes by him in pain. A man with a malicious tone of voice emerges behind her after searching for her all over. The girl argues that she went to the hospital because of a stomachache but ended up not being seen due to lack of money. The man grabs the girl's hair and makes it clear that having a stomachache is not enough for a slave to take a break. Then he takes her away violently. The man takes the beast girl to a cemetery and throws her onto an old, dirty tombstone, which he believes is perfect for a semi-human like her. In the midst of this, a shadow emerges from the tomb and enters the woman. Unnoticed, the owner of the servant kicks her belly hard and with disdain and then leaves, saying that the slave will only be fed if she shows results. That said, she gets up and tears the man's stomach open eagerly, as an energetic mass contours her body, as if adding to that disproportionate strength. Seeing that things are heating up, the man runs through a part of the city that is in ruins, screaming for help, until he comes again to Xenos. He pleads for the boy's interference, but Xenos criticizes the self-centeredness of the individual. The man argues that he was just doing his job, but changes the subject when he explains that it was just something related to agriculture. Either way, he is severely injured and is willing to pay if the boy can do something. Thus, at the same moment that the beast emerges again to attack her master, the healer pushes the victim's body to prevent him from dying. With irony, Xenos asks what happened to make the girl so angry. Then he dodges the stones she throws at him. The owner of the servant asks the young man to end the girl, but Xenos refuses, since his job is not to kill people. Outraged, the aggressor insists that an aristocrat like him could not end up dead over such a trifle, and that it's just a matter of buying another slave in her place if she dies. Upon hearing this, Xenos is carried to a traumatic memory and clarifies that his role is to save as many people as he can. At that moment, the semi-human throws a huge rock at the healer, but he imbues his fist with mana and destroys the stone into pieces. The noble is startled and wants to know what kind of healer is capable of doing this. The woman moves swiftly across the battlefield, and the doctor knows that her speed is unusual even for her race. Regardless, with a magic shield, he repels an attack he suffers and isolates the attacker towards a destroyed house. Already weakened, the building lets its wall fall, crushing the aristocrat. After resolving the conflict, Xenos goes to the demi-human to lift her up, but the girl seems too scared to accept help. Additionally, the malevolent aura that surrounds her manifests again with force around her body, so the doctor understands that she is possessed. Then he places his own arm in the girl's mouth and uses his healing to expel the intruder. Trying to understand what kind of agriculture involves servants being possessed by spirits of the dead, the healer destroys that malignant manifestation and treats the wound. Seeing that the boy healed the servant's broken leg in seconds, the aristocrat emerges from the debris and recognizes that this doctor is incredibly powerful. Thinking this, he pleads for help, but Xenos replies that his shift is over for today, so he asks if he can see the man tomorrow. The noble explains that by tomorrow he will already be dead and demands to be healed right now, so the doctor requires an additional payment. Several gold coins are handed over to him. But this is far from what Xenos would like to receive. After all, he is an underground healer and has no license. Therefore, he asks to take the aristocrat's slave as compensation. Thus, the noble agrees and is healed. Xenos takes the beast woman to his house, informs her that he has purchased her, and asks her name. When the girl replies that her name is Till, the man tells her to undress, as her purchase was expensive, and he needs to know if the servant is in good condition. After hesitating for a few moments, the girl does what was commanded. Then Xenos discovers that she has a gallstone, which causes inflammation. Without delay, he completely heals the semi-human, who does not understand how he was able to do this without any enchantment or magic circle. Naturally, she thanks him for it, but her master would like her to also show service beyond just thanking. Till assures that the master can ask whatever he wants, so he hands her a notebook and asks her to look for something. Immediately, the servant set out in search of what had been requested and came upon a plant that was exactly what he had been looking for. Not quite understanding everything, she wanted to know if the job was just that, as she thought there might be more for her to do. However, the healer assured her that her work was done. Even more confused, Till claimed she was still in debt. But as Xenos had already said, she had paid what she owed. In fact, he explained that he always demands a fair price for the work he does, and pays a fair price for what he expects others to do. In Till's case, she found the leaves that he could not have found on his own, which means their value was equal to what the doctor had done for the semi-human. Thus, their debts were settled. With that, the boy tore up the servitude contract and informed her that her life was now her own. Overjoyed, Till admitted she didn't exactly know what she wanted to do from now on, but she was going to live to find out, and she would come back to tell the doctor when she did. Moreover, she wanted to know if she could return one day to see Mr. Xenos again, and he confirmed that she could always count on him as a clandestine doctor, as long as she had some payment to offer, of course. After their interaction, the doctor returned home and was greeted by Lily, who promptly informed him that the food wasn't ready yet. Just then, the 3 dinner thieves arrived with the ingredients. Along with them, Carmilla appeared to comment that Xenos seemed to have had so much fun it was as if he'd met a new girl. After teasing him, she disappeared just as she had appeared, while Lily celebrated that they could make a lot of food with everything they had brought. Xenos could hardly wait, while Lily committed to making black tea for everyone to enjoy together. Check out these videos appearing on your screen and subscribe so you don't miss the next part.